So, I've been dating this guy named Alex for about 6 months, and honestly, I am at my absolute wit's end. Alex is what you would call a high-maintenance guy, but not in a normal way. He has these completely insane, unrealistic standards for women that he probably copied from some trashy podcast or extreme social media influencers. He expects his future wife to be a runway model, a Michelin star chef, a spotless housemaid, and a high-earning corporate executive all at the same time. The funniest part? Alex works a basic entry-level office job, lives with 2 roommates, and can barely cook scrambled eggs without burning down the kitchen. Last week, we went out to a nice restaurant for our 6-month anniversary. Everything was fine until we started talking about the future. Out of nowhere, Alex looks me dead in the eye and says, "Babe, I love you, but if we ever get married, you need to understand that your career comes second. My family needs a traditional wife who stays fit, looks flawless, and keeps the house perfect." I literally choked on my water. I asked him, "Alex, if I stay home, how are we going to pay for a house in this economy on your salary?" And this man, with full confidence, replies, "True high-value men manifest wealth. You just need to trust my leadership." I thought he was joking, but he was completely serious. The ultimate breaking point happened 2 days ago. We were invited to a family dinner at his parents' house. His mother is a lovely, hard-working woman who practically carries the whole household on her back. During dinner, Alex decided to show off. He looked at his mom and said, "Mom, you see how clean this kitchen is? You need to teach my girlfriend how to do this properly. Her apartment is okay, but she definitely lacks those traditional wifey skills." The entire table went dead silent. His dad looked uncomfortable, his mom looked deeply hurt, and I was just sitting there, boiling with rage. Alex smiled like he just said something brilliant. That was the exact moment I realized I couldn't do this anymore. I stood up, looked Alex dead in the eye, and said, "The only thing lacking here is your grip on reality." I grabbed my purse, thanked his parents for the lovely dinner, and walked out the door. Alex has been blowing up my phone for 48 hours, calling me dramatic, immature, and saying I ruined a perfect relationship over a harmless joke. His friends are even messaging me, saying I'm the asshole for embarrassing him in front of his family. So Reddit, am I the asshole for walking out on my boyfriend after he insulted my lifestyle in front of his parents? Now, if you think Alex has entitlement issues, wait until you hear this next story from r/AmItheAsshole. This one is about a groom who thought his wedding aesthetics were more important than his own mother. My entitled brother got engaged last year to a woman from a very wealthy family, and ever since, they have both been acting like complete royalty. My brother's fiancée is obsessed with her Instagram aesthetic and wanted a flawless, minimalist, modern wedding. Everything was fine until last week, when my brother called our mother. Our mom has been in a wheelchair for over 10 years due to a severe accident. My brother, with full confidence, told her that she shouldn't come to the ceremony. Why? Because her clunky, old-fashioned wheelchair would completely ruin the aesthetic of the wedding photos and video. He actually suggested she stay home and watch a live stream. My mother was absolutely devastated and spent the entire night crying. When I found out, I was so furious I could feel my blood boiling. But here is the thing. My brother and his fiancée were planning to move into a beautiful suburban house right after the wedding. This house originally belonged to our late grandmother, who left it entirely to me in her will. However, out of kindness, I had signed a temporary lease agreement allowing my brother to live there rent-free for 3 years to save money. The very next morning, I called my lawyer and cancelled the agreement immediately due to a breach of terms regarding property modifications he tried to make without my permission. On the day of their wedding rehearsal, while they were out, I hired a professional moving company, packed all of my brother's belongings, and had them dropped off right on the lawn of his future in-laws' mansion. I also sent a message to the entire family group chat, explaining exactly why he was being evicted and why he no longer had a house. The wedding turned into an absolute disaster. The fiancé's family is furious at him for lying about owning the house, and my brother is threatening to sue me. Am I the asshole for ruining his wedding and making him homeless? Honestly, some people just deserve exactly what's coming to them. And speaking of sweet, sweet revenge, This last story from r/prorevenge shows exactly what happens when you cross the wrong person in the office. At my previous job, I used to bring a homemade lunch to the office every single day. I love cooking, and I usually make high-quality, delicious meals. But about 3 months ago, my food started disappearing from the communal fridge. It wasn't just a slice of pizza. Someone was eating my entire lunch, day after day. I complained to HR, but they basically told me there was nothing they could do without proof because there were no cameras in the break room. I tried putting my name on the bags using locks, but nothing worked. The thief would just rip the bag open, so I decided to take matters into my own hands. I knew exactly who it was, a lazy, arrogant senior analyst named Greg, who always sneered at everyone. I also knew from office small talk that Greg had a very low tolerance for spicy food and mild digestive issues. That night, I cooked a beautiful creamy lasagna. It looked incredible. But inside the middle layer, I packed a massive amount of powdered Carolina Reaper pepper, one of the hottest peppers in the world, along with a healthy dose of extra-strength liquid laxative. The next day at noon, I went to the break room, and sure enough, my lasagna was gone. About 20 minutes later, a massive commotion started in the main conference room. Greg was in the middle of an important presentation with our biggest corporate investors when the spice and the laxative hit him at the exact same time. He turned completely red, started sweating profusely, and then suddenly doubled over in pure agony. He didn't even make it to the restroom before a complete medical and hygienic disaster occurred right in front of the executives. He had to be taken away by an ambulance. Management was furious and tried to fire me for poisoning a coworker. But I was fully prepared. I brought out a medical note from my doctor, proving that I suffer from severe chronic congestion and eat extremely spicy food for health reasons, and I also showed that the laxative was my daily prescribed medication. I told them, I just prepared my own lunch to my personal medical needs. If Greg didn't steal my private property, he would be perfectly fine. Instead of firing me, the company ended up firing Greg for gross misconduct, theft of employee property, and creating a hostile work environment. Don't touch another man's lunch,